friends, and welcome to the School Librarian Learning Network podcast. I'm Steve Tatro, and I love talking about all things related to school libraries. I may be an old dog, but I'm always trying to learn new tricks. In each episode of the SLLN podcast, I'll chat with a school librarian about a lesson they love. Hopefully, this can be a place for school librarians to get ideas and find new ways to engage with their students and staff. As a good friend likes to say, we're better together. So I hope this podcast will help school librarians connect with and learn from each other. The opinions and ideas shared in this podcast by myself and my guests are our own and do not reflect those of our school districts. And because school librarians always strive to be good digital citizens, I cite sources when using material that is not my own. Hey everybody, we're back. I am so excited to be talking to my guest. This is a wonderful human being who has an amazing lesson, and I am very excited. So why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you.
Yay! Hi, everyone. I'm Karina Quilantán-Garza, or just Cue the Librarian, depending on if you follow me on social media or just Cue.
The famous Cue the Librarian.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but yeah, just Cue. You can call me just Cue. So I'm a librarian in the Rio Grande Valley, which is in deep South Texas, near the U.S.-Mexico border. I'm a middle school librarian, and I've been at my campus for about almost 10 years now.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. So I really love my campus, really love what we do there. And yeah, excited to be here, Steve.
So just out of curiosity, how did you end up in the school library? Like, what was your sort of path or your journey to get there?
Oh, okay. So I was an ELA teacher before I became a librarian, right? So I was in the classroom, and I worked at a fairly small district when I first started teaching. And because the district was small, they didn't have a full-time certified librarian when I was there. So we had a library. It just wasn't being used. And as an ELA teacher, I mean, it's kind of counterproductive, right? You know, I want my kids to have access to the library. That didn't happen. I was coming also from a campus that was severely impacted by, I forgot which hurricane it was, but there was a hurricane that hit the valley, and it ended up like flooding the library at our campus. So, and then it was under litigation, so they didn't open it. It was a whole thing. And then I moved to another campus, and it was never open because of the lack of librarian, right? So I think my last year at that district, they hired like maybe 2 librarians to oversee the entire district. So I would only have access to the library maybe once a week. And she was actually the one that told me about the whole concept of library school. And because I would have these conversations with her, like, you know, I wish the kids had more access to the library. They love it when we visit. I wish I could, you know, she was always good at like giving me resources and, you know, offering me class sets for units that I was doing. And I just remember being just so in love with her. Like, oh my gosh, you're so amazing. This is exactly what I needed. How did you know? I wish I had you every day. And she was the one that encouraged me, Ms. Rivera. She said, you know, you sound like a really great advocate for libraries. Have you ever thought about going to school for this? And I thought, what does that even mean? No, you know, in the Valley, we didn't have anything like that. She's like, no, it's online. I said, what? The whole idea of getting my master's online was so new to me, because this was what, like 2009, 10? I don't even remember. And I just thought the whole thing was wild. And so I looked into it and got accepted into the school library program through Sam Houston State University, and the rest is history. So I really owe a lot of my interest in libraries. I guess I always had an interest in books. I just didn't know that it was possible to seek a degree in this, you know, because that's at least where I live down here, that's not what people usually talk about. We, for the most part, a lot of career paths that are pushed down here because the area that we serve is either lawyer, doctor, education.
Huh.
That is it. And it's always teacher, counselor, principal. Nobody ever spoke about the role of the librarian. And even when I left that district and moved to another one and finished my last 2 years of teaching there before I became a librarian, that campus, or that district, I should say, also didn't hire certified full-time librarians. So and the library was really, really small, like the size of a classroom. So I was going from a district to another district with the same type of problem and didn't realize that I could be an advocate for libraries and actually go to school for this. So definitely interesting. And I just fell in love with this career path, and I do not regret it one bit. It's great.
Yeah. No, me too. I also sort of kind of fell into it sideways and just feel like I found my place. I love it so much.
Yes. Because at first I wanted to be a guidance counselor, right? Because I got my BA in psychology. And then I thought, I want to be a school counselor. And then, this librarian tells me of all these amazing possibilities. Like, what? Oh my God, this is exactly what I want to do with my life. This sounds amazing. It's everything. This is what I love about librarianship. It's everything that I love, all nicely packaged into, librarianship, right?
Yeah,
it's got
absolutely.
Books, it's got the tech, it's got the teaching, it's just everything that I love about education all rolled up into one. And so, love it.
It's the best. And the people in it are so wonderfully caring and giving and helpful, which I love.
Yes, I agree. And
speaking of being wonderful and caring and sharing, you're bringing us a lesson. What is this lesson?
So thank you so much for letting me share this. I guess I'm not sure when this is coming out, but because we're approaching the holiday season, one of the lessons that really resonates with my students around this time of year is, and it's fairly simple when you think about it, right, is the whole idea of creating a vision board. And traditionally we've done this on poster, cardstock, magazine cutouts. But our students transition to 101, right? With their Chromebooks and their devices, different laptops. We've phased through so many, but our students were, I guess, learning how to navigate different platforms. The ones that they were most familiar with were Google Slides, just the whole Google Workspace applications. And that's cool. But I told them about Adobe Express, and then I told them about Canva. And one of the things that I like to do with the students as we're approaching the end of the year is talking about their read illusions, right? Their reading resolutions and their vision board for what they want to accomplish, not during the school year, but through, the actual year, right? So 2024 is coming up. So the reason that I like to do this is because I feel like students are always being told, right? Data and, testing. They're always being told where they're at, not where they want to be. They're not asked where they want to be, where they want to go, what they want to accomplish. It's always the conversation surrounded around, this is how you're doing, this is where you're at. And that's it. That's usually where the conversation ends. And I wanted to do something a little creative, right? Something simple, creative, something that they can use to reflect on their lives as a reader, their lives personally, how they are as a person, and then bring in some tech practice into it too. So we created read illusions and vision boards on Canva, and I go through what the whole idea of a vision board is. My students weren't actually usually when I introduce this, they don't know what a vision board is. I don't think they've ever made one, you know, and I tell them, well, you know, maybe not formally, but you've made a collage, right? You've made collages on your apps, you know, you put it on social media, whether it's of your friends, places you visited, yada, yada. So we talk about the whole concept of the vision board, what it entails, or what it symbolizes. And I ask them, you know, think about who you are as a reader, think about who you are as a person, think about who you are as, you know, if you have siblings, who you are as a sibling, who, as a son, as a daughter. I want you to visually, I want you to create a visual of what your specific goals are, right? Do you have, you know, life isn't just about one dream or one goal. What are your multiple dreams, right? What do you want to do? It doesn't have to be just one. And then I teach them how to navigate either Adobe Express or Canva to find certain elements that fit within, you know, that'll fit their vision board. I teach them step by step, you know, either finding a template, finding elements that go, how to adjust the text, how to edit the text, all that fun stuff, using the different features of each platform, and then how to organize all the different elements on their vision board to create this really neat, like, I guess, art piece, really. Yeah. And then they share it with the class, and they'll submit it to me on our LMS, which is Google Classroom. And then if with their permission, if they allow me, then I'll create a collection on Wakelet, and I'll share it with the staff. Like, look at what the kids created. You know, if they want it printed, I'll print it out for them, and then they could keep it. And one of the great things that I love about this activity is last year, a student reached out to me on Google Classroom because I have like a private message area. I call it the help desk. She reaches out to me at the end of the year and she says, Miss Q, I just wanted you to know, everything that I put on my vision board, I accomplished this year. Wow. She said that she got the dress that she wanted for her quinceañera. She passed her end of the year exam, which we call the STAR test. I think she got, I don't know what she got. She made the team for something. I don't know what it was. I don't know. I forgot which specific sport it was. She's like, everything that I put on that vision board came true. I'm like, that's great. That's what I wanted. This is you actualizing your dreams. This is manifesting. This is what I tell the kids. Like, it's not just a matter of writing it down, stuffing it in your backpack, and then letting go. It's for you to look at and like, nobody says that you have to complete these things in a year. It's just in the back of your head as a mental note. This is where I want to go. And these are the certain either behaviors or certain opportunities that I should seek out if I want these things to happen. And I told them, like, I feel like our kids are always under this constant pressure of state assessments. And I told them it doesn't have to have anything to do with how many books you read a year. It doesn't have anything to do with whether or not you get, I don't know what they call it, exceeds expectations on your state assessment, perfect score. Just forget about all that and think about where you want to be by the end of the year, not the school year, but by the end of the year. If it's, training your new puppy to be potty trained, if it's to be a better sibling, if it's to help around the house a little bit more. I mean, just, anything that you feel resonates with you, that's what I want you to create on your vision board. And the kids just come up with such great things, and I love seeing them dream so big, and I want them to feel like nothing, is impossible. I want them to feel like this is my goal and I can achieve it if I set my mind to it. And I've given them examples of mine in the past, right? Things that I put in my office as my vision board that I put up every January. And I tell them, like, all the things that I've checked off. I'm like, this is my vision board. These are the things that I've accomplished that I said I wanted to do. And it's because I'm trying to put it out into the universe, it's putting it out into the universe and hoping something, catches.
I think it's such a great idea because so often, like you were saying, we might have the kids write down what their goals are, or like where they see themselves. And we're such visual creatures. I think having them, instead of having words, putting it into images, I can see that really hitting hard, like really sticking with them.
Yes, I agree. And I mention this all the time whenever I talk to other librarians. And one of the things that I really appreciate about this activity when I do this with the kids is, again, I'm from the Rio Grande Valley, so it's right near the Mexico border. My students are predominantly Spanish speaking, right? We're talking like 90% of my kids are English as a second language, or we call them emergent bilingual students here in Texas. And I really love that they don't have to feel like they have to write it down, and feel like they're limited by what they can express via the written, with the written word.
Yeah.
I want them to find pictures, right, of their visions. And like you said, I love that this activity is so visual for them, because regardless of where they're at in their language ability, everyone's dreams are represented when we print them out and put them on the bulletin board. Everyone's represented. Everyone's dreams are shown. And that's why I feel it's so impactful, because nobody's voice is left behind. So I love doing this every year, especially the read-alotion aspect, and I tell them, well, we're in the library. So I was like, just in case y'all don't know, Mrs. Cue's a librarian, but she hasn't read every single book on the shelf, and I don't like every book that I read. So this year I say, just pick one goal. I mean, if it's to read one book only, okay, cool. I said, honestly, my read-alotion is to finally read a biography. So, mine is going to be the Dave Grohl memoir that I've had on my shelf. And, that's what I'm sharing with them this year. I said, but honestly, it could be whatever it is that you want, whether it's to visit the library at least once this year, and I give them the option. Either you could do the read-alotion, by itself, you could do the vision board, or you could do them both. It's up to you. I'm not going to force you to do the read-alotion because I know not everybody has what we call a healthy relationship with reading for whatever reason, right?
I like that.
Yeah, but I'll give them an option. Whichever one you want to do, I will take whatever you want, because at the end of the day, I want them to feel like they have a say in their learning. I don't want to just force the whole concept of a reading resolution on them, because I don't want to be limited to just that. So I've noticed that they're more receptive to the vision board idea, which is cool. That, but yeah, I definitely give them the choice. I don't know which direction they want to go in for that activity. And it usually takes about 45 minutes. I usually do this in one class period with the students. Yeah. To save me time, I record myself going through the steps of how to create a vision board.
Clever.
No longer than 3 minutes. I'll upload it into the Google Classroom class that we have for the library. We'll watch together. I'll usually take a vote. Like, do you want to watch it on your own with the headphones, or do you want to watch it together? We usually watch together. They go through the steps with me, and even if they miss something, they can always stop, record, go back. Record. They could stop, go back, view again wherever it is. And then I'll kind of let them run loose on the computer and see what they create. And, usually I collaborate with, it's so funny because nobody would think that, but the social studies teachers, I usually do this with the social studies teachers. And it just kind of worked out that way because, the sixth grade social studies teachers love taking their classes to the library because we do a lot of extension activities with whatever unit they're going through. And I just brought up this idea to one of them. And she said, yes, this is great. I love this idea. Let's do it. I'm like, are you sure it doesn't, I'm not going to because teachers can be very strict about their pacing schedules, right? And their pacing guides. So, I don't want to interrupt the flow of the unit. She's like, no, let's do it. It's great. It's fantastic. Let's do it. And then because we did it with her class, another social studies teacher came and was like, I want to do it too. I'm like, let's all go. Let's all just have everybody come in. Let's all make vision boards. And I and I require the teachers to make one too with their students. So,
nice.
Like if you're here, you're going to make one too, man. You're not an exception. I want to see your goals. So, yeah, it was really great. And I also collaborate with the theater class as well. Sometimes I'll create vision boards about like a certain play that they're coming up with, you know, with, like, set design, what they envision the set design to look like, the costumes, just really great stuff.
Great brainstorming activity just to get them thinking in different directions.
Yeah. And this is what I love about collaborating with the fine arts too. Like, and I have a wonderful drama director that really utilizes the library the way it should be used because she really does a great job at looping me in to collaborate. And, you know, she'll come up with an idea and then, you know, what do you think? Can I bring my classes? I'm like, yes, please. Yes, I would love for you to come by. So it's really fun to see the teachers, I guess with a simple activity as vision boards, come in and see the impact that it makes on the students, yes, but also the value of collaborating with their librarian, and doing something fun, right? Yeah. It doesn't always have to be standard aligned, you know. Yeah. As long as it gets the kids thinking and excited and a chance to be creative is what I hope to achieve.
Yeah, and I mean, I could absolutely see that sort of tying in to curriculum. If you like, for the history teachers, I could see them wanting to talk about like setting goals as being part of what do people from history, you know, share in common. What were their goals?
Yes, exactly. Like, yes, I love that. And I'm going to mention that and I'm going to quote you on that. Yeah, definitely. Different events in history and, you know, the time periods, a visual representation of what the time periods, just amazing stuff. Definitely. And it can definitely be standards aligned. Don't be right. I mean, that's not where I was trying to go with it. But
I don't think it has to be, but I could see absolutely like you could definitely tie this in a lot of different ways to stuff, you know? And
for sure.
It can be a fun lesson, but also a productive lesson for those teachers who are like, well, I don't know, fun. I mean, I'm thinking now about like English class. If you had the kids do vision boards for characters and books and like, what would they be? What would the characters' goals be?
Exactly.
What a great way to, I love that as an idea to sort of like.
And they read The Outsiders every single year. So it would be nice to have a vision board for Pony Boy and Soda Pop and Johnny and you know, how everybody's visions look differently, you know, based on their characteristics as a person and who they are as a person.
And what a great study in character that could be. Man, this could be like you could turn this into a real meat and potatoes kind of lesson, but.
Oh, I love that. Meat and potatoes.
And I love too that like this is such a great library project because it's really about the students, like you were saying, giving them that agency and that control over their own learning and their own path, their own destiny. And so often, and like you were saying, in classroom classes, they don't always have that because it is curriculum and it's scoring and it's grading and here's where you are now. But a vision board is about where do you want to be, and the library is about what do you want to know, what do you want to learn. You know, find the thing that works for you, like inquiry driven. And I can see that absolutely tying in with this vision board lesson.
Yeah. Man. Pretty excited. I'm excited because I usually do this at the end of December, early January, somewhere around there. The month goes by so fast. So it's usually either December and January. I don't know. So I'm excited to see what they create this year and the collage that we're going to make on Wakelet once we compile all their vision boards together.
I love that too, that they're able to kind of view them together.
Yes. And then I'll take a picture of the bulletin board and send it to you, Steve.
Yes, definitely do. I definitely want to see them. I love this. I also love too, like you're doing this with middle schoolers, but I could absolutely see this like scaling up or down for like high school kids could totally do this.
Oh yeah.
And lower grades could absolutely do this. Like this is something that is so universal to our students, like thinking about where do you want to be. And I love that you're bringing that to the learning process for them, because I think it's something that too often is neglected. It's such a great idea.
Yeah. I feel like we don't ask our students enough questions. We don't ask them questions enough. We're up there talking. It's like we're talking at them and we're not talking with them, discussing who they want to be,
Yes.
Who do you want to be? It's always content related, state assessment related. And the year goes by so fast, we forget to stop and think that, these are, our students are people, right?
Yeah.
Our schools are microcosms of society. Eventually they're going to contribute to society in some way. And sometimes we forget to think that they're going to be adults someday, and we want to make sure that we're providing them opportunities for reflection.
Yes.
And to really think about who they are as people and who they want to be as people. And oh my gosh, can I share a fun story with you?
Please.
Okay. Where did I go? I was on the plane going to Dallas the other week. For TALL Texans. And I sit on the plane and this guy next to me says, "Hi." And I say, "Oh, hi, how are you?" Put my earbuds in, don't think much of it. Finally, the plane lands. I had knocked out during the whole, I know. And my friend Amanda always makes fun of me, like, "How'd you knock out for just an hour?" I'm like, "Dude, you have a 4-year-old, you get your sleep in, or you get." And so I wake up and he asks me, "Are you a teacher?" And me, because I'm automatically paranoid. I'm thinking, yes. I mean, yes, I teach. Were you a teacher in, and he names the district that I used to work at. I'm like, "Yes, that is me." And then he asks me, "Are you Karina?" And I'm like, "Are you?" I'm thinking this used to be he was a former student. I had him 12 years ago.
Wow.
He is 24 years old now, and he's working, he works for some, I don't know, sector of the government, traveling to, that was actually one of his stops to go on to, to get on another plane. And then he was going on and on about how I was his favorite teacher. And I'm like, what? Like, you remember me after all these years? And the conversation that we had, and what I got from the conversation, was that one of the things that he mentioned was, you treated us like people, basically. Now that we're just kids, and I told him, I really tried my best to make it a really great learning experience. He's like, "Oh no, you did, just one of the best." And I'm like, and I told him, and just to kind of go back to where I was trying to, get with this point is, I always have to stop and think after I have a class, at the end of the year, is where you're going to go in life. Like, I hope that I taught you well enough to consider, healthy options, to seek out good opportunities, to take care of yourself, to know that whatever it is that you want to do in life, it's absolutely attainable. And you did it. Like, you are in such a good place. I told him, "I'm so proud of you. You're healthy. You're a good person. Like, you have a great job. You're educated." And there I am crying in a plane. and that's what I hope that the kids get out of their experience when they visit the library. Is
I love it.
That they experience something positive, and that it resonates, and that they can somehow take these lessons with them as they get older. And that's why I love vision board ideas, because it's something that they can keep with them.
Yes.
And I tell them, because it's linked to their school account, they're going to be able to have access to this project for the remainder of their academic career. They'll have access to it when they go to high school. I'm like, I hope that you go back to it and you see how your goals change as you get older, right? Like, right now you're seeing your life from the perspective of a 12-year-old, from the perspective of a 14-year-old, 8th grader going into high school. Think about, I'm like, and I'll tell them, like, I challenge you I mean, I don't know if it'll happen, but I challenge you to go back to your vision board when you're a senior, go to the same Canva template and create a new one and see where you want to go when you graduate. Yeah. So I haven't had that happen yet, but if my student on the plane was any indicator, hopefully somebody will come back to me a few years from now and say that they made another vision board. I don't know.
I love it. I mean, I've heard people say that students don't remember what you teach them. They remember how you made them feel. And that's what I love about this is you're considering how they feel. Like you're giving them that time and that opportunity in the school day when they might not otherwise get it to think about themselves and where they want to go.
Yeah.
And you brought up reflection too, which is such an important element of any kind of learning. And it's funny, I hadn't even thought about the fact that in order to create the vision board, you have to reflect on where am I now in order to see where I want to go. And what a great skill to have built into this engaging and enjoyable lesson. Man, this is
wonderful. You said
wonderful.
it 10 times better, but yes.
No. This is, man, I am so glad that you shared this with us because this is really, I mean, there's so many great things going on with this. And I'm going to throw in one last thing that I was thinking as we were kind of talking this through in terms of ways you could maybe tie this back into a curricular thing, which you don't have to do in any way, shape, or form. But if you did, you were talking about having the kids find the elements that are going to represent them. You could do a lesson on research, how to find images online. You could do a lesson on citation, making sure you say, here's where I found this stuff. Like this could, again, I think it's great as it is, but there's so many additions that are possible with it, like so many ways you could really develop this to fit whatever program you happen to be working with at the time. Man.
That's funny that you bring that up because one of the, I guess, the standards that I bring in are media literacy standards, because we talk about, okay, you can't, I usually try to promote if you can't find any photos on Canva, using the elements that they have in there, make sure that you're looking for Creative Commons, any audio, you can't just rip audio off of YouTube. Let's stick to the ones that they have on the platform. So, there's a huge side lesson on copyright whenever we do this activity because the internet is the wild, wild west. And I just want to make sure that they're aware of what they're putting on their vision boards.
Before we go, I want to do a book break.
Oh, gosh.
So
okay.
We're going to just go in a slightly different direction here. We're going to kind of just jump aside and talk about books because we're school librarians and we have to talk about books. So
yes.
What's a book that you have enjoyed? And it could be something that like from the way past, from recent, for personal, for students, whatever. What's a book that you've been enjoying?
Oh, okay. So I sit on the Texas Maverick graphic novel reading list committee for Texas Library Association. I'm currently the chair.
Congratulations. That's outstanding.
Thank you. I love this committee so much. Every year we read over 100 graphic novels that we're considering for nomination and voting and all that. So
that's awesome.
I know. And it's great. And I've read so many great graphic novels this year, and we'll be putting out the list December 1st of 2023. So I'm not going to give away any titles.
That's fair.
But I know I'm going to just, for future reference, everything on that list is what I had to read. But honestly, because I've read so many middle grade YA graphic novels this year, something that I love to read around this time of year is not for the children, Steve.
That's okay.
I love to read steamy Christmas romance.
Okay.
So right now, and it's funny that you asked this question because I literally just downloaded Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone's Holly Jolly Ever After novel. It's super cute. I believe it's about, I haven't read it yet, but I believe it's like a washed up boy band pop star and this girl get together for a steamy Christmas romance made for TV movie. I think that's the concept behind it. I need to read the synopsis again, but I mean, it's Julie Murphy and she can do no wrong. So, I mean, and it's not, YA, I guess. So more an adult read. So that's what I'm reading right
That's
now. But
okay.
And I think that it's so fun because I just have this, annual tradition every Christmas where all I read is Christmas romance books. That's it. Just because they make me happy, and the world is on fire right now.
Yes, absolutely.
Let me just read my holiday romance in peace.
Yes,
and you would think that I watch the Hallmark Channel, and I don't. I really don't. But I'd rather read them. So
I'm with you on that. I would rather read it than watch it. Yeah. I love that, though. I mean, it's so important. Like you said, we've got to read for ourselves sometimes. Like, it's great to read for the kids, and it's great to find things that are going to be good resources, but we also have to find our own joy and our own passion in the reading. And even though middle grade and YA can be great, it's also important for us to look at whatever is going to work for us. So I love that. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
I love that title. So if folks want to connect with you in the future or follow you in the future, where do they go? What should they be looking for?
Oh, okay. Well, I am very active on Instagram, so they can find me at Cue the Librarian, spelled CUE, the Librarian. And then, I'm not really as active anymore, but also X or Twitter.
Yeah.
I haven't jumped on Blue Sky yet or Threads.
Come on over to Blue Sky.
I know, but it's overwhelming,
Yeah, no,
but they can find me on Instagram. Anybody, I'll just feel free to reach out on Instagram, or I have a blog which I try to update, but I'm so bad at it. I used to be really good at updating, and I just don't have time anymore. But
you've got a lot going on. Yeah.
It's busy, but it's fun. It's fun. It's fun stuff, though.
It's awesome. Well, thank you again. This has been awesome. I'm so glad we got to talk, and I am so glad that you shared this lesson because I can see a lot of people want to run with this. This is great.
Yay! Well, thank you so much for inviting me.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the SLLN podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes, which include not only a link to the lesson, but also links to the SLLN website, home to a curated list of free upcoming virtual events and resources for school librarians. It's easy to become a member of the network. Just visit the site and use what you like. If you have an idea, a question, or a lesson you want to share, you can email schoolliblearning@gmail.com. That's school, L-I-B, learning@gmail.com. Know someone with a great school library lesson? Let us know. Until next time, be safe, be good, and be well.